The Golden State Warriors have undoubtedly been the most dominant and feared team in the NBA over the last decade. They cemented themselves as an all-time dynasty after winning their 4th NBA championship a few months ago, as well as Curry finally getting his missing finals MVP. And well, it was pretty easy for them. No team really was able to compete with them in the playoffs, so coming into this season, they were heavily favoured to go back-to-back. Their team was really good and very, very well balanced. But things haven't been so great this year, even with Steph Curry having his best ever season. No, seriously, he is. They have been just bobbing around a 500 team and they just lost to the struggling Chicago Bulls. And despite just beating a very bad Washington Wizards team, the Warriors do not look great and are at just 500 for the season. So what happened to change the defending champions into a team that may even miss the playoffs? Let's talk about it. Before we get into it, if you're new around here, make sure to hit the subscribe button. We just hit 600 subs, so thank you guys so much. So first of all, for those who don't know, on the 14th of December in a game against the Indiana Pacers, Curry was forced to leave the game with a shoulder injury. Steph would go on to miss 11 games before returning. So at first glance, it would be easy to say that, oh well, the Warriors are struggling because their best player has been out. Well, not quite. In that 11 game stretch, the Warriors went 6-5 with Curry out, a positive record and a win rate of 55%. With Curry in their team, they have a record of 15-14, a win rate of 52%, so there's next to no difference. So here's the main issues with the Warriors. First of all, Jordan Poole. In this offseason, the front office gave Poole a bag, a max contract of 4 years, $123 million. And although he's definitely talented and has great potential, he's been very disappointing this season. His efficiency is down across the board, down to 43% from the field and only 31% from free. In fact, he's bordering on being a shot chucker. He's actually been worse in a bigger role with Steph out. In the last 15 games, he's shooting 27% from free while shooting 9 threes a game. He's also a complete defensive liability, and he's averaging 3.5 turnovers a game, a lot worse from his only 2.5 turnovers a game last season. But Jordan Poole is young, and he's only part of the problem. The Warriors are also just very sloppy as a team in general. They commit the second most turnovers every game as a team in the entire league, which is genuinely horrific. In my opinion, that has to do with how unique and quick Steve Kerr's Warriors system is. They let important players of their core who knew the system well leave, such as Gary Payton II and Otto Porter Jr., and they brought in new guys such as Dante DiVincenzo. I think the new core is struggling to adapt to the Warriors system. In fact, Draymond even talked about how hard it is to fit into the system last season on JJ Redick's podcast.
It's a learned skill. Like you can't just expect guys to walk in and know it right away, which is why consistency has been important for our roster. You see it in years that we had great teams, there wasn't much turnover on our roster because the consistency and understanding those nuances allows Steph to be greater. Understanding those nuances allows Clay to be greater. It allows me to do more of what I do. And so it's very important to teach the guys that, because when they first come in, it's a disaster. And we laugh about it every year about a guy not understanding, because the reality is it takes about at least half a season for guys to really catch on.
So maybe Draymond is right and they will end up figuring it out. We are exactly at the halfway mark of the season. Perhaps the Warriors might start to get it together, start to learn the system and go on a little run. But turnovers and sloppy play isn't the only problem. Their defense has been bad, which is rare for the Warriors, especially considering they were the best defensive team in the NBA last season. I already commented on Poole being a defensive liability. Well, so is Klay Thompson. He just isn't the defender he once was. He's at his worst defensive win shares since his rookie season, just showing the point I'm making. But again, Klay is only part of the problem. Their interior defense has been really bad as well. In my opinion, they need to make a trade. Their number 2 pick, young star center James Wiseman, has been a negative all season long, and Kevon Looney is the only real 5 at the moment. I would be picking up the phone and calling the San Antonio Spurs every single day, asking what they want for Jakob Poeltl. He would solve a lot of their issues. Another major indicator of how bad their interior defense is, they commit the second most fouls as a team in the NBA, which just shows a lack of effort in my opinion. More issues. Their bench is also horrible, like really bad, which is very surprising. Last season their bench had the second best net rating in the league, with a positive number of 2.6. Things have completely swung in the other direction, as they now have the second worst bench rating in the league of -3.5. This could be due to Poole starting more often and also playing worse, but I really think they shouldn't have let Gary Payton and Otto Porter walk in the offseason. Their young guys also just haven't really lived up to expectations thus far. As I said, Wiseman has not been great. He's been in and out of the G League, and his minutes have been half since last season due to his lack of impact. Jonathan Kuminga has also not been good. He's shooting just 25% from free with minimal impact off the bench. And despite shooting 37% from free, Moses Moody struggles to get consistent minutes. I would really consider trading one of these free guys to try and get a decent role player to help the bench scoring or a quality backup big. The other major thing that has been holding the Warriors back this season that I don't see many people talking about is Andrew Wiggins' injury. He's only played 25 games this season and he's been fantastic on the offensive and defensive end, shooting the three ultra efficiently. So missing him for so many games definitely has negatively impacted the Warriors. In fact, the Warriors have a 7-10 record without Wiggs, an even worse record than without Curry. Another explanation could be, teams are just better this season. The Pelicans, Nets, Kings, Knicks, Cavs are all significantly better, and no teams have really fallen off. I mean, 13 teams from each conference are in contention for a play-in spot at the moment. This season is just much more competitive, and the Warriors haven't been able to break away from the pack at the moment. They may be the 6th seed, but lose 2 games, and they could be the 13th seed. This season is insane. However, it's not all doom and gloom for the Warriors. There are significant positives. First of all, they have Stephen Curry in their team. Enough said really, he's having an unbelievable season, statistically his greatest ever. If he's healthy, then you always have a shot at contending for an NBA championship. Also, despite his lack of defense, Klay's been looking great offensively recently. He's averaging 25 in his last 15 games and is even shooting 39% from 3 in that stretch. He's definitely improving from his slump at the beginning of the season. Draymond is still incredibly impactful on a basketball court and is even shooting his best 3-point percentage in 2017. So basically, the Warriors' big three that won 4 NBA championships is still pretty good. And that's the thing, they're still the Golden State Warriors. One good trade and the new role players start to learn the system and they could go on to win another NBA championship. You really can't sleep on the Warriors. I saw them turn around their season last year, it could very well happen again. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Will the Warriors win the West, or will they even make the playoffs? Who knows? Thank you so much for watching, like and subscribe, and see you next time.